Esther Halt with Star Financial Solutions joins us, and we're talking about traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Another week. Amazing how quickly they go.
Yes.
So what is the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA?
Well, the traditional IRA is pre-tax, and a Roth IRA is after-tax money. So with a traditional IRA, you put the money in,
Yes.
and then you take a tax deduction. With a Roth, you put the money in, you don't have a tax deduction. But when you take money out of the Roth, you don't pay taxes. When you take money out of the traditional, you do pay taxes.
So why would you get one than the other if you're going to do so much better with a Roth IRA?
Oh, you're not necessarily going to do so much better. Don't forget, if you need a tax deduction, you're going to want to go with a traditional. Also, there's certain times when you can and can't participate in one or the other. So that's why there are both.
Okay, so tell us all of the differences, because they're the same in a lot of respects, and there are the differences.
Right.
So how are they the same, Esther?
They both grow either tax deferred or tax free, depending on which one you have. So while they're growing, you're not paying capital gains taxes when you're making money, which is quite nice. Okay. Also, the limits to how much you can put in 1 year are the same. So if you're under 50, you can only put in $5,500 a year. If you're over 50, you can put in $6,500.
And that's the cap.
And that's it per year.
Okay.
So that, in those ways, they're the same. Or if you want to do a little bit in both, then together you can only put in those amounts. So you can't go over that amount no matter how you do it.
Okay. What happens now that you've got the money in there? What happens if you need it and you need to take it out early?
Well, there are penalties. So on a traditional IRA, if you're not 59 and a half, you're going to pay tax on everything that comes out, and you're going to pay a penalty of 10%. On a Roth, if you're not 59 and a half, you're going to pay tax on the gains plus a 10% penalty on the gains. And there's a way they figure out what's your gains and what's your principal.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to do that unless you absolutely
No, this money is for retirement.
Okay.
And that's what the government wants you to be using it for. Mm-hmm. Also, as far as contributing to these IRAs, on a traditional IRA, if you are participating in a 401k or some kind of retirement plan at work, depending on how much money you make, you may or may not be able to contribute to a traditional IRA and get a tax deduction.
So if you're putting a certain amount already in at work,
right?
Like we'll say it's $4,000 and you're under 50, you can't put more than $1,500?
It depends on how much you make also. It depends on how much money, what your salary is. And on a Roth IRA, you don't have that limit. So if you're participating at work, you can still put money into your Roth. However, if you're making too much money, then you can't participate in a Roth. So there's all these limits and ways to figure out which is best, which is not. And that's when you really need to consult your tax professional. And they'll let you know. Or me. It's a lot of times you do both in a case like this, because the tax professional will know how much money you made the previous year. He'll know, how much you're putting into the other one, and we can all work together. And that's the best.
Okay. Now, do you suggest that one's better than another for somebody to invest in?
It depends on your situation. Absolutely. If you can only contribute to a traditional IRA until you're 70 and a half. So if you are still making money and you want to still contribute to something, you can contribute to a Roth. There's no age
70,
limit.
Okay.
Correct.
Right.
If you really need a tax deduction, like most of us do, and you don't have a 401k or a retirement plan at work, then you want to put money into a traditional IRA. So it really, really depends on your situation.
Okay. Now, we'll use me as an example. What if what if I don't have anything started? I mean, obviously, at this point in my life, I do. but for someone who hasn't, we'll say of any age, if somebody hasn't, where do they start? When they come to you?
They would come to me, and we would talk about where are you in life? So you come to me, you're 20 years old, you're working, and you're not paying taxes. So we probably want to go with a Roth.
Okay.
You come to me and you're 35 and you got 2 kids and you're paying taxes and you need every deduction you can. You don't have a 401k at work, we go with a traditional. And we work it out, and that's how we work on that.
And you should start saving as much as you can as soon as you can.
As soon as you can, because don't forget, this is all growing tax deferred. Mm-hmm. And so the more years you have for growth, the more you end up with on retirement.
And again, 70 and a half is the magic age where you have to start taking
from a traditional.
From a traditional.
You don't have to take from a Roth.
Okay.
So the beneficiaries have to take from both. But on a traditional IRA, you have RMD that we've discussed before, and you start taking that at 70 and a half, and there's a calculation that they do for that.
All right, and this is why people need to come and see you. Thank you again. I always learn something.
Thank you.
I may not get it right away, but by the time you leave, I usually do. Thank you, Esther. Thank you for joining us on Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. To find more tips from local experts, you can view previous episodes and complete seasons at snntv.com under Programming. We'll be back next Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. with more tips on how you can live a happier and healthy life. Until then, have a wonderful week.